Good evening and welcome to the first episode of the KaliBar and Hookah Lounge. I am your host, Reverend Frank, and joining me is Ellen Dotvian. She is the Chief Legal Officer for the State Bar of California. That means that she is the General Counsel, and one of her jobs is she oversees the State Bar complaint system, especially when it comes to the Special Deputy Trial Counsel when you file a complaint against, say, the general counsel, as I did Vanessa Holton. Ellen, I hate to tell you this, but you get an F rating right now. And you and I are going to take a little walk down memory lane with my whole website for Vanessa Holton. Yes, folks, I am that crazy. I built a website. And Ellen, the first thing you're going to notice is, oh, well, let's make you a little smaller here. First thing you're going to notice, Ellen, is that these two cops, Chief Spiller and Captain Glenn McEllery, they committed some serious criminal activity, at least in my opinion. When I filed a state bar complaint against Vanessa Holton as a general counsel, she responded by filing a police report claiming that I built a website to harass her. These two allowed her to redact that police report, removing all traces that she filed it as the general counsel of the State Bar of California. She actually submitted the paperwork on California State Bar letterhead, had her staff deliver it. That is in a call from an Officer Bellamy, and the redaction is a recorded call with Lieutenant Bishop. And this is what I usually have on the front. Folks, this is what AI is coming to. This is what we're going to see in the next few years that's going to really impact the way we look at what is real and what is not. That's Vanessa Holton, and that's George Cardona of the Chief Trial Counsel. And Ellen, as you can see here, two documents side by side. This one, a quit claim. And I hope I don't have to tell you, Ellen, that a quit claim means you don't own the property. And then you can see one that is just a little over 3 months later, where the same individual files bankruptcy as single. My statement was find a divorce decree or that is bankruptcy fraud. And that's what I filed in the state bar complaint. And just to give you a picture here, I want to show you what Brian Bagay responded with. She was single on the title to her property. Ellen, again, a quitclaim says it's not her property. It's her husband, sole and separate property. Then he says something about depriving me of thousands of dollars. Ellen, here's a quick shot of the complaint I filed. It says whether knowingly or unknowingly aided and abetted a client in committing felonious bankruptcy fraud. Do you see any mention of money on that? I don't. No thousands of dollars in support. How would I get money from her bankruptcy fraud? And then he decides that it's attorney client privileged. Now, how it becomes attorney client privileged, I don't know because these are public records. And if she committed fraud, Ellen, I think you're aware there's something called the crime fraud exception to attorney client privilege. And yet, nobody wanted to listen. They didn't do that for John Eastman, did they? And I found out I could appeal, but that would go to the Supreme Court, cost me tons of money. So I decided to take a little bit different attack. I built the Vanessa Holton website to document what's going on. But Ellen, I know me as a little individual can't really fight the state bar because I'm nobody. If I send out an email, they may even think I'm just soliciting donations. But I did actually, for real, have a girlfriend in England who was a punk rocker, and her name was Vanessa Holton. I don't know if that's just God putting things going crazy with me or coincidences because in England, Vanessa Holton is a very common name. It is just like John Smith here in the US. And lo and behold, I built the website and I said, hey, Vanessa H is going to retire from the state bar. Now, I don't say the State Bar of California, do I, Ellen? I don't put any request for financials on that there. And if you really want more information, all you had to do was click here. Now, to take you a real quick short down, this is the original story that I wrote. And this is a picture of the lady that was on there, which I don't think this looks like Vanessa Holton of the State Bar of California, do you? They look like two totally different people. Here is the Wayback Time Machine, Ellen. I'll make sure you go away for a minute. And as you can see, this is from December 17th, 2020. This is the exact same story, which again protected under the First Amendment right to free speech. And it has got nothing that is disrespectful to Vanessa Holton whatsoever, except at the bottom, I put down that if you want information on my complaints on the state bar, this whole thing was a beautiful story about my relationship and it became clickbait. Click here, and as you can see, you get taken to the Brian Bagay site, and you can see I had documents up here. And these actually, I'm surprised, still survive. These are the two phone calls. I'm going to let you listen to the second one just for a minute.
Hey, Mr. Robinson, this is Officer Bellamy again with the Santa Barbara Police Department. I called yesterday concerning an issue I've been having with identity theft and the fraudulent impersonation of a person through cyber means.
Okay, he says he called me yesterday about identity theft and the fraudulent impersonation of a person through cyber means. Now, Ellen, let's listen to the first phone call a minute.
Hi, Mr. Robinson, this is Officer Bellamy with the Santa Barbara Police Department. I'm calling in regards to some harassing emails that you've been sending out in regards to Vanessa Holton, an attorney with the California State Bar Association.
Now, Ellen, did you hear anything about identity theft? He's talking harassing emails that I was sending out. Now, one of the things that Ellen, I told Leah I was going to do this year is I have put up all of the emails that I have sent out over the last 3 years plus. Now we have the first email here. You can see it was opened up by Steve Mazars 130 times, and that's where I think the harassment was really coming in, because this is the second email I sent out. It didn't go to a whole lot of people. And if you click on there and you open up the file, you can read that I am expecting her to remove Brian Bagay because he's just incompetent. And I'm asking for this. Now, do you see anything in here that is informative? I see everything as informative. And the reason I bring that up, Ellen, is you should know a harassing email can only contain harassing information. If at the end of a 30-page harassing email you say, by the way, tomorrow it's going to rain, take your umbrella, legally that is not a harassing email. If you can find anything on here where I did any kind of name calling, Ellen, please point it out to me. Now let's go to the third one where I said goodbye, Nessa. Now this, Ellen, was sent out on November 23rd. And when you read the email, I am informing her and the world that I filed a state bar complaint. Now, I don't think that's harassing to inform her that since she didn't take on my appeal, that she didn't do what I thought was necessary. That's not harassing. It's informing her. And again, all this is informative. So, where is it that Officer Bellamy got the idea first that these are harassing emails? Because as Vanessa Holton is a public figure, first of all, I say she's subject to the Saturday Night Live rule. But secondly, you actually have to prove malice. And I don't even see anything that she could complain about. Again, maybe it was Steve Mazar opening up that email so many times. I referred to my girl as Nessie the Loch Ness Monster, and we actually did visit Scotland together. So I'm sorry if Vanessa got all upset with those. But what she then had to do was get the San Rafael Police Department to redact the police report. And Ellen, they kept it open for almost 2 years. I don't know how you're going to explain that to the Attorney General because, as you can see right here, again, November 22nd, I filed the state bar complaint. The 23rd, this is when Vanessa Holton filed the police report. Now, if you'll notice something, it says a website was created to harass and defame the victim. They don't want to name the victim because they don't want to put Vanessa's name on this. They closed the case after referral, with after investigation with no referral. But Ellen, when I found out that I got a letter from Kevin DeSantis, we'll get into him in a minute, I put in a Freedom of Information Act request. The San Rafael Police Department told me that 2 years later, it's an investigative report. Why are they sitting on this report for 2 years, Ellen? Can you explain that? Because I can. Here's just some more information. The dates published on YouTube of the first two phone calls. I've changed them up a little bit. And this is the state bar complaints that I filed. And Riza Marie Gonzaga sits in Ellen. You guys really should fire everybody that used to work for the Chief Trial Counsel's office. I don't think that these people can be trusted to do anything other than protect you guys. And Riza was hired by you guys to be a chief trial counsel. Excuse me, she was a chief trial counsel employee before she became the special deputy trial counsel. Now, in this letter, Ellen, I want you to think about this. She's stating that she knows this has been investigated for 2 years and it doesn't bother her. Is that an ethical lawyer doing a real investigation? Because, by the way, she uses this a factual allegation can be considered. Now, in the legal world, Ellen, I'm of the understanding that courts, juries, and judges are triers of fact. So, how is it she's dismissing that it's my idea, this is a false police report? She just says that's conclusory, that's just my opinion. But because it's just my opinion, she can't investigate it because that's just not what they do. This, again, Ellen, is really violating what you are supposed to be doing to protect us. Excuse me on that. Now, let's go back up and we're going to look at what I have done with AI on that phone call, Ellen. And I am going on attack on the San Rafael Police Department at the same time I'm going on an attack on you, Ellen. So don't feel lonely.
Hey, Mr. Robinson, this is Officer Bellamy again with the Center Police Department. I called yesterday concerning an issue I've been having with identity theft and the fraudulent impersonation of a person through cyber means. This is in regards to, I guess, the website you created in Vanessa Holton's name, the emails you've been sending out. Please call me back at 415-485-3000. Again, that's 415-485-3000 so we can correct this issue. I'm hoping you'll take down the website and cease further activities as far as emails and your harassment. Thank you very much. Again, my name is Officer Bellamy. 415-485-3000 to the San Rafael Police Department. Ask for me, and I'll be more than happy to talk to you. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. That's available for you to watch up on YouTube. And again, when you listen to the first phone call, Jimmy, he never says anything about identity theft, just harassing Vanessa Holton. Now, Ellen, again, when you look at the emails that went out, if you look at what I wrote, there's no harassment there. It is seeking redress from the government. And again, you used it not only to protect Vanessa Holton this time by just declaring that the false police report, we're not even going to look at it. First time you guys brought in a guy named Kevin DeSantis from Dunn, DeSantis, Walt, and Kendrick. Now, Ellen, he says that my ex-wife was still married to me in 2008 when she filed for bankruptcy. Now, if she's still married, there's no way she can file single. You can't file single until the divorce is done. Am I correct? And he even quotes the case number that we filed. But Kevin, didn't you ever look at the divorce date that this thing was finalized? Because that's 3 years later we're talking, right? Secondly, how do you just come to a conclusion that, well, since Brian Bagay didn't do anything wrong 2 years ago, then Vanessa Holton must not have done anything wrong? It's just a turn that just follows, right? Well, folks, my apologies for one little piece of information that was left out here. This letter from Kevin DeSantis came 2 years after Larry closed out the first case. The state bar, Ellen, you've got a rule that every time a special deputy is called in, you've got to follow that up with 2 years later. This was Kevin DeSantis following it up 2 years later. Ellen, he didn't even care about the police report. He just says, c'est la vie, hey, these guys didn't do anything wrong because my ex-wife was still married to me when she filed for bankruptcy, so filing a single is okay. And when I filed the estate bar complaint, or excuse me, I filed the I requested, Ellen, that they review Kevin DeSantis's report. And you know what Risa Marie Sitten did? She used my words that I says I reject Kevin to tell me I shouldn't have filed the state bar complaint, but asked for a follow-up. Ellen, I did ask for a follow-up in that email that you got, and yet you blew it off. Now, why is it that this was the second time? How did they cover Vanessa the first time? Ellen, they brought in Lawrence Jeffrey DeCello. Now, Larry here, Ellen, he was fired from the state bar for massive fraud and ethical problems. Now, can you understand that after Larry gets fired like this, Ellen, that he doesn't have much of a future as a lawyer? Well, he does because he got to sneak back in being Vanessa Holton's boyfriend. Now, I don't know how much if they all dated in college, but they both went to UC Hastings and they both got admitted to the state bar a year apart. That gives them 30 plus years together, Ellen, at college functions and soirees and shindigs. And with Larry working for the state bar and Vanessa Holton sucking up to everybody to get a job at the state bar, you know these two had multiple interactions. So do you think it's really ethical that you would bring Larry DeCello in to handle Vanessa Holton's state bar complaint? Do you think that really covers what your job is supposed to be, is to make sure that this kind of corruption doesn't go on? But you've been covering for them. You're the one that did the Kevin DeSantis review. You're the one that did the Risa Marie Sitten review. And the next videos I'm going to be doing, Ellen, they're going to dissect each of those reports letter by letter. So thank you guys very much for spending some time listening to me whine. But Ellen, by the time you and I are done, you will be talking to the Attorney General. You have a good night. Thank you.